Good evening from New York. I'm Lawrence O'Donnell. 2 days after the Republicans got wiped out in the congressional election of 2006, President Bush invited Democratic leaders Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer to the White House, where they, according to Hoyer, had a, quote, very positive discussion about moving forward. President Obama extended a similar post-shellacking invitation to Republicans to meet at the White House today. But they declined because Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell had other things to do, like give a speech to the Federalist Society calling for the repeal of the health care bill.
We're serious about repealing and replacing the health care bill. We will make the case for repeal through vigorous oversight and votes on full repeal of this terrible bill, even as we vote to eliminate its worst parts. And we'll continue to fight it in the courts.
Of course, McConnell is not serious about repealing the health care bill because he knows his minority party in the Senate doesn't have the votes to do that. If McConnell had given any version of that silly little speech to the president in the White House meeting today, the president would, no doubt, have politely reminded McConnell that his veto pen makes him more powerful than McConnell ever will be. House Republicans also spent the day blocking an extension of unemployment benefits and trying to force a vote to take away federal funding from National Public Radio, which is 1/100th of 1% of the federal budget. Meanwhile, the Democratic leadership showed up at the White House meeting. House Speaker, soon-to-be Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, told the president that House Democrats remain committed to allowing the Bush tax rates to expire for incomes over $250,000, while the president told Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid that he is free to pursue compromise with the Republicans in order to get a tax bill through the Senate. Joining me now are Republican Congressman John Mica of Florida and Democratic Congressman Anthony Weiner of New York. Congressman Mica, do Republicans realize what a huge public relations mistake they made by not showing up at the White House meeting today?
Well, a huge public relations mistake has been made for the last 2 years of the entire Obama administration and the 4 years of Democrat control.
Congressman Weiner, I got to say, from where I'm sitting, working great for you guys so far. This is shades of Newt Gingrich, losing public relations battles with President Clinton when he took over the House of Representatives. Did you think you were going to get this lucky this quick?
Well, look, one of the first, you were right in your intro that when the President of the United States calls and says, let's sit down and meet, particularly at the beginning of a new Congress, it's not only the polite thing to do, but if you're really serious about governing, that's kind of what adults in Washington do. They sit down and they talk even when you disagree. But, putting aside the atmospherics of this, which obviously are bad for the Republicans, I think part of this is that they don't know who they are yet. Are they the party that wants to sit down and try to solve problems, like Mr. Mica usually is? Are they the party of these new guys that came into town that wants to deconstruct everything and burn the place down? I think one of the reasons Republicans didn't accept the invitation is they have no idea what their message is and what they believe right now. And that's going to be a problem for the whole country once they're in charge.
Congressman Mica, a constituent of yours in your Florida district says to you, what was going on? Why wouldn't Mitch McConnell speak to the president when the president invited him to? How do you explain that to a constituent?
Well, first of all, the new Congress doesn't meet until January 5th. Quite frankly, I'm going back tomorrow and tell my constituents I'm most disappointed that the folks in charge in the White House and the majority that's now controlled by the Democrats in both houses came back this week and didn't take care of the most important thing, and that is putting people to work, not just extending unemployment benefits and doing it in a manner to add to the deficit, but there's no plan to deal with the tax uncertainty that every American's facing and businesses facing, and won't begin hiring people till we settle it. We should have done that this week, and that's what we should be working on.
Congressman Mica, let me just get this straight. Unemployment benefits add to the deficit, but I guess in your view, tax cuts do not.
No, we actually offered an alternative. There's plenty of money sitting around, stimulus money that hasn't been spent, other money in other accounts that hasn't been spent without adding to the deficit. Listen, you must be on another planet because the people sent a very clear message. Stop the spending, stop the deficits.
Congressman
We
Weiner,
heard it. We heard it.
Congressman Weiner, what did you want to hear coming out of the White House meeting among the Democratic leadership and the president on tax cuts?
Well, look, for one thing,
tax rates.
For one thing, I think it's pretty clear from the way the Republicans have behaved this week that the best intention of the president to try to find compromise. It's difficult to compromise with a group that really doesn't even know what they want or being frankly stubborn about it. You know, to hear Mr. Micah say, I wish we would have come to some agreement on taxes. Well, so one of the places you do that is by sitting down at the White House and hearing what the ideas are. Look, I think that to a certain point we have to realize bipartisanship, compromise, they're a means, not an end. And to some degree, I think the president is learning what many of us in Washington learned a long time ago. These Republicans don't want to compromise because they have nothing they want to do. They just know what they're against. They don't know what they're for. And that's why the conversation would have been very short nonetheless. And I want to just say this. You know, Senator McConnell, in a rare moment of honesty, I think made us all understand what the Republicans believe. They want to do everything possible to make sure the President of the United States, our President, is a failure. That should never be, I don't care what your party is, that should never be your defining philosophy.
Congressman Micah, if in the lame duck session in the House, the leadership brings up a bill to extend the Bush tax rates for all of the tax brackets except the top tax bracket, and you are allowed to vote yes or no on that bill, how will you vote on that bill?
I heard your exception. My vote would be no, because I think we should extend.
So you would be voting against a tax cut for all brackets except the top bracket. You'd vote no on that kind of tax cut.
Absolutely.
And how would you justify that to your constituents, about 99% of whom live below the $250,000 tax bracket?
Some people just don't seem to get it, but it's the people who actually have the money to invest in creating jobs and expanding the economies and getting America going again. Those are the folks that need some tax certainty, some tax breaks. We should be lowering our corporate rate. We're now one of the highest rates in the world. You see jobs going overseas. That's because our rates are high, because government is putting additional controls and mandates on business. People in Washington just don't get it. They'd rather sit around and just extend unemployment benefits. There's a better way, and we can do it.
Congressman Weiner, should the Democrats force Congressman Micah to cast that vote, to vote against tax cuts for all taxpayers below $250,000?
Look, I'm open to different ideas on how to structure this. Maybe it should be higher than $250,000. Maybe we should have extra tax cuts for small businesses like Senator Weiner wants. But I have to tell you, in what Mr. Micah just said, and if you were paying attention, he said, let's not give a break to people who are looking for work, who have children who potentially are not going to have Christmas this year. But let's figure out a way to lower the corporate tax rate. So they voted no on providing unemployment insurance for people who, frankly, are going to be probably pushed into Medicaid and onto public assistance anyway.
A more expensive program than unemployment insurance.
100%. I mean, that
Didn't you hear what I just said?
Mr. Mike, let me just finish my thought. The problem is that I believe is honestly what the Republicans believe. They believe lowering corporate rates is a more important thing to deficit spend on than a relatively small amount of money to expend on unemployment insurance. That's what I think President Obama is going to have to deal with for the next 2 years, which is why I think to some degree we need to dig in.
Congressman Micah, go ahead.
Well, again, I didn't say that we shouldn't extend unemployment deficits. A very clear message was sent about increasing the debt. The debt is well over $14 trillion and growing. We could have done an extension, taken money that's sitting in accounts. I mean, there's billions and billions of dollars sitting in stimulus accounts and other accounts I could cite that hasn't been spent. So we don't have to end the deficit. We can also put people to work. People who I talk to want a job. They just don't want another government unemployment check. And we can do that. And I'm glad to work with Anthony's a great guy. I like to work with him. I think we could have a meeting of the minds and come together. But we should be sitting down talking about positive solutions to put the country to work. Then I don't even have to worry about the unemployment benefits.
Congressman Weiner, two other agenda items for the lame duck session. The DREAM Act and Don't Ask, Don't Tell. What are the prospects for each of those?
We were elected for a full 2-year term. We still have a couple of months left here. We should be governing based on our democratic principles. Both of those things should pass.
Congressman Micah, you're going to be the chairman of the Transportation Committee in the House. You have said that you think that the TSA, the airport security, has gone too far. How have they gone too far, and what is your view of this new pat-down system at the airports for people who don't want to go through the full-body scans for fear of the radiation exposure?
Well, first of all, on the question of the DREAM Act, no. No to granting lower tuition to illegals.
It does not do
students.
that, Congressman. It does not do that.
Again,
you can vote against it for another reason, but not that one.
Well, again, that's the way I interpret it.
That's right.
And again, that shouldn't be even on the agenda at this point. On the TSA matter, I think the TSA has overstepped its bounds. I have no problems with using the body advance imaging or pat-downs, but it shouldn't be done for primary screening. It should be targeted at people who pose a threat, who set off some alarm or on a watch list. But it shouldn't be used, and people have already seen the videos of children, elderly, and others. We've got to focus attention and our resources and technology and efforts on a small handful of bad guys instead of millions of Americans who are trying to go about this country in a free and open manner.
Congressman John Mica, Republican of Florida, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank
and we're
you.
going to be following what you have to say about the airport security issue going forward in your committee. Congressman Anthony Weiner, Democrat of New York, thank you for joining us also.
Thank you.